Alright, hey, Hades Meg here, and in this part of the front end build video for my Sauron Lightbee 2022, I've got the Manitou Dorado comp and the RST Killah fork side by side. Okay, so if you guys, this is actually a little bit bigger than a stock RST Killah fork. It's a 27.5 inch. So I think the one on the Sauron is a 26. So. But yeah, pretty much the same size, the exact same size. I think this is for like a 29. I can't remember, but yeah. So as you can see, the fork the fork size is literally the same. All right, pretty much the axles are lined up right now. Let me see if I can. Let me go line the axles up. About like that. Okay. So you can see the fork. The fork legs are actually a tad longer on the Dorados, okay, than the RST Killahs. Yeah, this one is missing the top clamp. I need to put it back on, but okay. So I went ahead and put the top clamp on. All right. Just for a better comparison. So definitely the clamps look like they're much beefier on the Dorado. Look at how much thicker they are. Alright. I think this is close to a 47 millimeter. This is a 36. So these upper part of the legs, alright, are 10 millimeters thicker. Okay. So but this is a upside down fork, all right, versus a right side up fork, all right. This is your conventional fork right here versus a upside down fork, all right. So the part that moves is on the bottom, all right. You can see this is the stanchions right here. So this is the part that moves in and out. The part that moves in and out is this part right here for the Killah forks, okay. So that's why this part is much skinnier than this, all right. But I think this is a 37 millimeter, and I think this is a 36 millimeter. So the stanchions are, this is only 1 millimeter thicker, okay. But I know they increased the rigidity of the Dorados. For the newest Dorado versus the older Dorados, they increased the rigidity by like 20%. So that I don't know how it stacks up to this in rigidity. This does have a crossbar, okay. In my opinion, crossbars have no place being on an off-road motorcycle. That's why you can see this is all scratched up. This is why I didn't want this is why I wanted the upside down fork, because it doesn't have a cross brace, alright? So what happened here is it got my wheel got packed up with mud, and I was running a 21-inch wheel. So like there's really not a lot of space between the wheel and the cross brace, alright? The wheel got packed up with mud, and then it would just rub this raw right here. All the paint's gone, okay. So no bueno. All right, but it does kind of sort of act as a fork guard, but mud also packs up on it. Yeah, so that's why I don't recommend, if you're going to be riding in mud, don't have this cross brace. All right, so that's why I bought the Dorado fork. It's upside down. It doesn't have a cross brace. Okay, so here let's take a look at the bottom real quick. So the axles are different on this. There's 4 pinch bolts here, okay, and then I think you just slip it in, and then you tighten the pinch bolts, and I think that's all. Like there's nothing to screw on because this doesn't turn at all. Okay, so I think you loosen these, and then you just slide the axle in with the wheel, and then you tighten these pinch bolts. Okay, so what the torque is, I think it's 12 to 15 newton meters is what it says. All right, now the problem is I won't be able to put a supermoto slider on this because it's got this Allen thingy right here. I might have to drill that out. I don't think you need that, but it probably aids in remove. I don't know, because there's no way to twist this, because as you can see here, that's keyed. All right, that's already got a scratch there. How annoying. Okay, this one is a little different. All right, I don't have the cap on it right now, but what you would do is you would turn this counterclockwise, and then the axle is actually screwed into this leg right here. Okay, so that could make your alignment a little bit off. All right, is what I want to say, because you're pulling this side towards that side, whereas this side, this one, you're just slipping the axle in, and then you're tightening the pinch bolts on it. All right, so I think the pressure exerted by the alignment of the forks is better for this. All right, because you're just slipping it in and you're tightening pinch bolts, whereas this one you're actually pulling this fork leg towards that way. Okay, and then it has a plug right here. That's the reverse thread plug that everyone breaks. Okay, I've never broken it. I don't know if people are breaking it. As long as you're torquing it right, it's fine. I've never had a problem with these RST axles. People say they're breaking them, and they're breaking the plugs. I've never broken a plug. I've never broken an axle. So I don't know how people are breaking them. Okay, and so here's the bottom of the fork. So right here, I think there's an Allen wrench here, so you can disassemble something. You can see the brakes are right here. We're gonna have to you know what? That looks a little different. This is like the same size as this. I think you might be able to install the brake without installing this bracket here. I'm not sure. That's a good question. Yeah, cause see how much smaller this is. This is like, I think this already is designed to have the bracket for this. So I'm not sure. When I go install the brakes, I'll figure it out. All right. I do know I need a spacer, because this is aligned a little bit different. It looks the same to me, man. So yeah, you need some kind of funky spacer that moves the rotor that away more, so it lines up with the brakes. But they look the same to me, the alignment. Yeah, well, I don't know, this one could be more that way. All right, so here is where the magic happens with the Manitou Dorado. All right, so the compression adjustment. All right, so there's actually two compression adjustments on here. All right, there's the high speed and the TPC adjustment. All right, so there's an adjuster right here, the black. So the black knob here is an adjuster, and this red kind of cross-shaped knob is another adjuster. All right, so the black one adjusts the high speed compression dampening, and then the red adjusts the it's a TPC adjustment. So basically what it is, there's like kind of three forms of dampening this this fork has. So from what I read in the manual, the high speed affects the early part of the stroke. All right, and then the red adjuster, the TPC adjustment, affects the medium part of the stroke, and then there is a hydraulic bottom out circuit that affects the very end of the stroke. Okay, so you can adjust the early and the mid. All right, and the end is not adjustable. Okay, so there's like a function that keeps it from like bottoming out. So this is the magic of this fork. All right, that's why I paid the big bucks for this. So hopefully this fork won't kill my arms like this fork. Okay, so whereas this one only has one adjustment for the compression, this has two. Okay, well, in actuality this actually has three. All right, like I said, there's like a beginning, a middle, and an end. All right, okay, yep, so that's how that magic works. So this adjusts the early part of the stroke, all right, the black part. Okay, I think there's like 20 parts of adjustment, And then the red. Okay, I got my camera set up here so I can adjust the TPC adjustment. So I guess you got to hold the black part, and then the red part should move independent of the black part. It's like so hard to turn. Okay, yeah, there you go. And then it just clicked once. So it says counterclockwise to make it more firm, counterclockwise to make it soft. All right. So basically, when you're softening it, you're making it move more easily. All right, it moves faster. It makes it more plush. When you're turning it clockwise, I think it's the same thing for the black adjuster too. When you turn it clockwise, it makes the compression more firm. All right, so it stiffens up the ride. It becomes less plush. So you got to kind of fine tune it for your kind of riding and your your weight and all that stuff. So there's the high speed adjustment. Oh, it is so hard to turn. Okay, and then here is the TPC adjustment, the middle range adjustment. It's so hard to turn. Ugh. There we go. Okay, get that? Yeah, it must have been like all the way in one position or something. So what I'll probably do is put these in like the middle position. Let's see how I like that. Okay. Okay, so that's how the compression adjustment works on the Manitou Dorado Expert. Okay, I don't know if the comp has that. I'm not sure. All right, but like I said, there's 3 different kinds of compression dampening on this fork. All right, and they happen at different strokes. All right, that's from what I read in the manual. That's what it says. Okay, so that's enough about the compression. And this one has a rebound adjustment right here. So upside down fork, right? So you would have the compression down here, whereas we have the rebound down here. Okay, so turning this way clockwise increases the rebound. Basically, I think it slows down the rebound, and then turning it counterclockwise speeds up the rebound. Okay, and then here I think there's some kind of adjustment here. You can adjust the travel of the shock or the fork. All right, I'm not really sure how to do it. You've got to disassemble this and then do something in there, and you can adjust the travel. I want the maximum travel. Hopefully I got enough room for it. Hades Omega is planning to go back to the 19-inch wheel, so I don't think we're going to have any problems with clearance with this. So it might be actually too long now. Okay, so right here we got fork guards on the lowers. All right, and this is one reason I wanted the Dorado over the Killah, because it has fork guards. All right. I don't know how, like many times, all right, and during many races in mud and stuff, mud will get packed up around here and around here, and it'll just rub your stanchions raw. Okay, I'm lucky enough that these stanchions are in pretty good shape still. I have another Killah fork where it has like a bronze colored stanchions, and they're just rubbed raw. It's just all aluminum under that. So that's why I wanted the fork guards, to protect the stanchions. All right, where the mud would probably pack up is like right around here. So hopefully it does a good job protecting it. They look pretty good. They don't seem super stout, honestly. Okay, and it has a brake bracket here, whereas there's a brake bracket right here. Okay, and I think this one it's just supposed to float. I think this one floats and then this one holds it. I'm not sure, but these hold it right here, and then there should be another. I guess there's only one on this. There's 2. There's one right here on this one. So there's a brake bracket here and here. Okay, because obviously this one has the brake thing on the side there. All right, as you can see, the clamp is much thicker. All right, you can go measure that. Okay, the clamps are much thicker. Let's measure just the clamps that clamp onto the legs. All right, we got 36 millimeters thick, whereas this one is only like 22 millimeters almost Yeah, 22 millimeters between this one and that one, the parts that actually grab it. All right, so let's check how thick it is kind of near the stem. Got about 20 millimeters thick. And this one's about 20 millimeters. So it's about the same thickness where arch is here, okay, where the stem tube is, but where the actual clamps are on the body, they are much thicker. Okay. So the upper clamps, man, is this stuff already scratched? I didn't even install this yet. Okay, this one's about 18 millimeters. Yep. And then this one is about 15 millimeters. Okay. In the center section, this one's about 13. This one's 15. So that's odd. This one is actually thicker than this one. All right. So let's measure how thick the uppers are. Okay, 44 millimeter, and we'll measure it versus the lower here. So since these are they're upside down. Okay. All right, 42. All right, 42 versus 44. All right. So 2 millimeters thicker, and then the stanchion I think is 36. Yeah, 36. And then this one should be 37. I have to kind of get up in there. 37. There you go. Okay. A little more than 37. Okay. The axle should be the same. Could measure that. It's about 20 millimeters and 20 millimeters. Okay. Should be the same. So this is the headlight mount I'm planning to use. I think I'm gonna have to flip it over. I tried to install it right now, and this part is way high compared to that. So I've pretty much got the forks lined up side by side, and this one is way high. So I think this is gonna have to go the opposite way. It's gonna have to go down to match this. So also this has adjustment here. Oh yeah, so this is for a 29-inch fork. So if you wanted to lower this, you have a little bit of adjustment to adjust the height. Okay. I may lower it. I'm not sure because I'm going back to the 19-inch. So if you're running a 27.5-inch wheel, all you have to do is lower this clamp down to here. All right, and then it'll actually lower the. Yeah, it'll actually lower the bike. And then you'll have to push all the clamps down. You got to make that critical decision before you install it, okay? So here's the steering stem tube, all right? Or the head tube. And I don't have anything to measure that, it's so long. Okay. So this is the head tube when you get it stock, okay? So we're going to definitely have to cut this down, it's way too long. It's about 10 inches, all right? Yeah, almost 10 inches. No, it's more than 10 inches. All right, whereas this one is like 9 inches. So we're going to have to cut like an inch off. Maybe. Yeah, it's 9 inches, and this one is more than 10 inches. So we're going to have to cut like more than an inch off for it to match. All right, but this is actually a little higher. We might need to lower. Oh, I see. Okay, I get it. I get what's going on here. So, so this is a 27.5-inch fork. All right, this is for a 27.5-inch wheel. This is a 29-inch for a 29-inch wheel in the configuration it's in right now. But you could lower it. You could lower it like an inch or something, and make it 27.5. All right. But then you would have to cut the steering tube. So you got to make a choice. You got to make a choice before you install it. Do you want it to have do you want it to be lower or do you want it to be higher? Okay, let's look at the adjustments that are on top. This has a compression adjustment here, so like I mentioned, the compression adjustment was down there because they're upside down. All right, and they're both on the right leg. Okay. Right here we got a rebound adjustment because it's opposite, right? So, and like I said, this speeds it, this slows it down, and then this speeds it up. Okay. So the clamps. This has a clamp here and here and here. Okay, what a weird angle this is at. All right, this one has one that's right here, and then two in the front. So it's like kind of the opposite. That's what I want to say. Okay, it does have bolts here. There are no bolts at the bottom, so it's gonna make attaching a fender challenging. That's what I want to say. This looks like it's gonna be even more challenging to put a fender, because this has a big arch to it. All right, it's not flat versus this one is flatter because this is designed for a bigger wheel. And yeah, so those are the differences. Oh yeah, another difference is, yeah, there's a spring in this leg, all right, and then this one has an air spring. Okay, so there's nothing to take out on this. You would just take this cover off here, and then it exposes the valve, and then you would adjust the pressure however you needed to. Oops. All right, yep, there it is. So you would put your air compressor in there, and you would let in air or add more air, however you wanted. Okay, this one has a spring, so you gotta take this cover off, and then there's a spring in there, and you just pull it out. There'll be like a little rod that comes out here. You pull the rod out first, and then you can pull the spring out. Okay, so that's how you adjust it. You change the spring. This one, or you can add a spacer to it to add more preload. This one, you have like kind of an infinite adjustment almost. That's what I want to say. Okay, this one doesn't have them, but it's got the little bumpers here for the steering stops. I don't know if I want to keep them on there or not. I'm not sure. If there's space, I'll keep them. That's what I'm going to say. But these are going to go on like this, the headlight brackets. Okay, and then we're definitely going to have to chop this quite a bit. That's what I'm going to say. I think what we're going to, yeah, I think what we're going to have to do is, I think we're going to have to put the bearings and everything on first, and then see how much we need to cut. Yeah, I think that would be the safe bet. Instead, what Hades Mega was planning on doing was measuring this, and then just measuring this, and then cutting where that ends. But I think the safest bet, the best thing to do, is to install it first, then put the steering head tube on there. I put the steering stem, handlebar stem, on, and then figure out where, like, mark where it is, and then like cut like a few, like 5 millimeters below it. That's my thing. Okay, so this has a kind of a black finish to it versus just this, I think this is aluminum or steel, I'm not sure. Okay, and these are the headlight brackets I was using for this one. Still got the turn signal on it. One of them doesn't work. These worked great. I never had really a problem with them. It just makes it a bitch. If you're ever working on the front end, like you gotta take the fork off or something, it makes it a pain in the ass. These ones are nice because you can unclamp these. There's a little thing on it that unclamp it. One thing I found out is that this is the wrong size. It's actually a little bit too big. So what I'm gonna have to do is wrap it with tape. That's what I'm gonna have to do, or rubber. But it's so it's so close that probably best to just use electrical tape. Okay, and then it's going to cover up the Expert. So these are the Expert forks. All right, the comp has the spring. Okay, if you guys are wondering what the spring looks like for a comp, there it is. Because I thought I was going to get the comp, and I wound up getting the Expert. Okay, so the Expert is the air spring version, so I don't have to worry about that. But I got the, so the beauty of the spring is that once you get the right spring, you don't really have to mess around with it anymore. Okay, this one I still have to I have to check the air pressure every once in a while. Okay, but I've heard good things about air forks, so give it a try. Sounds good. These are both all murdered out. Okay, as you can see, it's got a black. This one has a black upper and lower, and this one has a black upper and lower. Okay, I think this has a real rubber band on it. Yeah, there's a rubber band right here too. Okay. Okay, there's a little rubber band here. That's the stanchion right there. Actually, one thing we could test is the travel. Let's go measure how much in millimeter. Now, I don't know, internally it may limit the travel. I'm not sure, but this is how much travel on the stanchion you get. Okay, this is about 21 centimeters. Okay, almost. Yeah, almost 21 centimeters. Whereas this one is, wow, this is so annoying. It's like down here. Almost 21 centimeters. Yep, so they have about the same amount of travel. All right. So the beauty of this one is you can adjust your ride height. You can adjust your ride height by moving the clamps up and down. Okay, you can kind of do that, but if you do that, you limit your travel. All right, and you may like bottom it out or something. So this one I have this much adjustment. All right, from here to like here. So I got about, not a lot, maybe about 1 inch of adjustment. So I can raise or lower. This one you can raise or lower. Well, in this case, you would lower it. You could, where it is right now, I could lower it 1 inch, pretty much. So you would move this lower clamp, and it would move the stem. Yeah, it would lower the stem. It would lower everything until it got to here, where it says 27.5. So. All right, so there you go. There's some just kind of at the glance differences between the Dorado Expert, all right, versus the Manitou Dorado Expert versus the RST Killah. Okay, I think it looks nice. I like an upside down fork. It definitely looks beefier up top. And what sold me is the fork guards. Okay. Now, could a Hades Omega got the Volcano, the D&M Volcano? I've heard good things about the D&M Volcano. Like you can make it into a better fork, but let's go with this. Let's see what it can do. From what I've heard, this is probably the best fork that you can get for your light bee. Okay, it's right up there with the Fox forks. Okay, and I heard they're more durable than the Fox forks. All right. Cool deal. Okay, so so it looks like yeah, so in the next video we're gonna go I'm gonna go get this ready to install. Okay, basically we gotta figure out how much to cut the head tube. I gotta take this bearing out and put it here, and then we gotta repack the bearings and stuff, and then install the headlight mount, and then we'd have to figure out what's up with this brakes. I think I will mess with the brakes after. Okay, so there's one more comparison test that Hades Omega wants to do. Is I want to weigh both of the forks. Okay, so to make this fair, I'm going to take the headlight brackets out because I don't have the headlight brackets installed on this. Right. Okay, so this is how it's going to work. I'm going to use my luggage scale here. All right, it's got a little hook here, and then the needle moves when you pull on it. Okay. So let's do the Killah fork first. This is actually pretty heavy. Put it on the top clamp. Hopefully it doesn't fall out. Okay. Looks like it's about 5 pounds. All right. Not heavy at all. Okay. We're going to do the Dorado fork. Alright, it weighs exactly the same at 5 pounds. So yeah, so if you were wondering, so this is a coil spring fork versus an air spring fork. There's really no difference in weight. I think for rear shock absorbers, I think they were saying if you had an air shock versus a coil spring, the air shock is lighter, but for forks, doesn't seem to make a difference. Okay, and one last thing I want to compare is the back part of the forks. Okay, so you can see this fork has a greater offset where the clamps are. It's more back. The fork is pushed farther forward, so it's gonna make it looks as if it's going to make your wheelbase a little bit farther. Okay, because you can see this is kind of straight, where this is offset. It's going like this away. All right, it's going up and it's going like this. All right, well, this one is relatively flat. Okay. So these are the stanchions. I don't know what this stuff is on here. I have to clean these stanchions already. but yeah, so here's the upper fork leg versus the lower fork legs. All right. These look more like a proper, like a motorcycle fork. All right, upside down motorcycle forks look very similar to this. Also, you can remove one leg at a time. That's another difference, okay? So if I was to take this axle out and I was to unclamp this and this, I can pull the whole leg out of the triple clamp assembly, and I could just pull one leg out if I was just going to do maintenance on one. Okay, so like if I just wanted to do maintenance on the dampening system, I would just pull this one out and you can leave the other one on the bike. All right, you can't do that with the RST fork because it has this cross brace. They're kind of linked together. Okay, so you'd have to take like the whole thing out if you were going to do any kind of service on it, is what I want to say. Okay, yeah, so, and these are the stanchions. All right, they're both black. I do like that. I like the black stanchions. I have to say the stanchions on the RST Killah fork put up to some pretty, there's a couple scratches on them, but I put it through a lot of abuse and it's still okay. All right, I feel like the black stanchions have a more durable finish than the bronze ones for the white RST fork. Okay, but this one also has black stanchions too, and I can tell you now, this feels a lot more smoother than this. Oh, I don't know. This one kind of has that kind of polished feel, but probably because it's broken in, you know. So, I don't know. All right, and then there's the shields from the back, and this does have the rubber band right here to measure your sag, right, or suspension travel. Where this one has one right here also. Okay, this one's orange and this one's black. All right. This looks like some kind of clip here. I don't know what the clip holds though. It's a good question. I don't know what this clip is for. It's a C-clip. Okay, so that's what the back of the forks look like. Yeah, it looks like this is where you would tighten them. It's just like in the same place. All right, except this one is kind of like opposites. The top clamp has the bolts all on the front, whereas this one has it mixed. So two of them are in the front and one of them is in the back. Okay, so that's the comparison between the back parts of the forks. All right, and then these are the brake adapters, or the brake mounts. All right.